do you want to be a successful day trader? Or like, do you want to make some money? Because if you tied into just being a successful day trader, then you ain't really understanding what the market is. You've already told, in my mind, like, I don't care, I want to get freedom. And I'm gonna do the swings, I'm gonna do the deep swings, I'm gonna do the leaps. Whatever the market presenting me with, I'ma navigate. As we walk on this journey to build wealth, as we visualize, Jose, what the next chapter looks like, as we visualize, Jose, what freedom looks like, I start to understand that the idea of what freedom looks like helps fuel every action that we take after that. Once we have the vision, once we say, this is what freedom looks like to me, the next thing we do after that is based on not the vision, but the emotion that is attached to the vision. That emotion then causes a behavior. So it becomes a chain reaction once you have the vision. So the vision is almost the most important part, because without a vision, due to lack of vision, the people perish. So it means that if you don't have no vision, then you don't have no expectation. Okay, so vision almost sets the expectation. The expectation then fuels the behavior, Jose. So one of the things I really want to get in right now, Jose, is once we have the vision and the expectation, the first behavioral step that we must take is breaking the chains that made us shackled. Because if we don't break the chain, so we got to spend the time necessary, Jose, to break the chain. Because if we don't break the chain, Jose, either we gonna carry around unnecessary weight or we gonna be stuck in one place. Either we gonna be dragging unnecessary weight. The unnecessary weight is the fears that the people before you had. The unnecessary weight is the emotional distress when you saw your mama late behind the bills, when you saw daddy working overtime and you still was behind. It's unnecessary weight on how you feared the bank and how you didn't know about credit. It's unnecessary weight, Jose, or we gonna just stay in the same place, meaning we are causing past behaviors and past activities to keep us stagnant. But then there's something else we could do. When I look at the story of Jericho, Jose, of Joshua and Jericho, right? Like he had marching orders. They had marching orders based on the message that they got from him. Here's the dope part about vision, Jose. Before they started marching, before a brick fell to the ground, Joshua had an expectation that the land was already his. Before a trumpet got blown, before they got to the seventh time around, he already had an expectation that victory was his. Okay, let me make that make even more sense to you. Before you even make your first investment, before you even get in your first option contract, before you get the first dividend, before you buy the first piece of property, before you get the LLC, before you write out the trust, you gotta already know that freedom is already mine. You gotta already know that the process, that the marching around, Jose, the marching around Jericho was just an act of belief. You got the marching around, Jose. Like, right, the marching around, Jose, the trumpets blaring, Jose, like they just understood it. This was the message. This was God told to me. And so because I'm obedient and following orders, I'm gonna march, Jose. Because I believe in what's been told to me, Jose, I'm gonna blow the horn, Jose. Why? Because I'm expecting victory. So when I put the first option contract in, Jose, I'm expecting victory. I remember in 2014, I told George, we was at his mama house. I said, cuz, this gonna free us. I said, it ain't gonna just free us, it's gonna free a whole bunch of people. I had already expected the victory. So when you expect the victory, watch this, Jose, the journey don't even much seem that long. The process don't even seem painful. I didn't know what this was gonna be, Jose. I didn't know what it was gonna look like, but I expected the victory. I didn't know what the turmoil was gonna be. I didn't know what the trial and error was gonna be. If you'd have told me in 2014 that in 2024, I would have had a play in the options market that cost me $600,000 to lose in a day, I would have said, ain't no way in hell. But because I expected the victory, it didn't matter. If you'd have told me in 2014, and you're gonna have one play that's gonna make $1.2 million, I would have said, you crazy. But it's because I expected the victory. I didn't care what the process looked like in the middle. I just worried about the end result, which was freedom. That's the only thing I worried about. So I was learning along the journey. I was learning I was taking in data. I was learning. I was like, oh, I learned from that bump. I learned from that bruise. So before a brick even fell on the ground, I already knew that the promised land was where I was going to live at. Before a wall fell down. Okay, let me talk about that for a second, Jose. When I say before a wall fell down, I'm saying before I knew I was going to beat the charge, Jose. I'm saying before the financial trauma got healed, before I had my daughter. That's why it was easy for me on the air mattress to read to her about Warren Buffett. That's why when I'm on the air mattress, it's easy for me to read to her and tell her one day it all gonna be different because I expected the victory. I expected it. Right? Like, so Jose, why? You can't tell me that while they was walking around Jericho, that they didn't have some potholes there somewhere. That ground wasn't even. They had a couple, somebody sprung their ankle walking around there. Somebody got bit by an insect. That grass was high. I know they had a gnat or something, but guess what? Because they ain't letting nothing stop them. Okay, the reason why you ain't really expecting the victory is because you already positioning the pain in front of you that's gonna make you stop. While certain people expect victory, other people stop because of adversity that they done put in place that they fear. Let me say that a little different, Jose, because I know I can say it different. Okay, watch this. You have an anxiety of something that ain't even happened yet, and you allowing that to freeze your motion. Okay, let me say it. Let me dig in that a little bit more. Because you scared to lose money, you don't want to risk the money to buy back your freedom. There you go. That's it. So you scared to lose the money because you thinking about what it took for you to make the money. Now you don't want to invest the money because you keep saying, what if this don't go right? Instead of saying, what happens when this do go right? What I'm going to learn from the process of doing it. You ain't expecting a victory because you living in a defeat. That's it. That's it. You ain't expecting a victory because you living in a defeat that you made up in your mind. I knew I was going to take it out of there. There you go. You ain't expecting a victory because you living in a defeat that didn't happen, but you put it in your mind. And then you get mad at everybody else that make $100. You mad at them because they're excited. You mad at somebody because they say, I made $50 a day. And you like, oh, that's all you made was 50? Yeah, because the 50 is just a down payment on the promised land that I was promised.